Yes, the return of FAT. We're joined by our senior Knicks correspondent, the commissioner of fandom. He's got a new special. It's called You've Changed. It debuts July 9th on Prime Video. And he's with us because the Knicks have gotten Mikal Bridges and a 2026 second-rounder for Bojan Bogdanovic, an unprotected first in 2025, unprotected first in 2027, unprotected first in 29.
Hold on. Sam dropped. His Zoom frozen. He dropped.
It was a really good intro, though.
Yeah,
Is it
even said
Boyan?
Boyan, right?
Is it Boyan?
Yeah.
It is Boyan.
It's not Bogdan.
No, it's not Bogdan.
Yeah, but it's a soft J.
Yeah.
Boyan. Bogdanovic.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We should have just kept going. We should have just kept going.
We could keep
whether
going.
Sam,
I think we're doing that.
whether
Sam may not be.
I would have been like, these are difficult names. Let's keep the intro, maybe pause, and then go.
An unprotected first-round pick in 2031, an unprotected pick swap in 2028, a top 4 protected 2025 first-round pick via the Bucks, and a second-round pick in 2025 for a zero-time All-Star.
Who cares about 28, 29, 2030? The Knicks are going for it right now.
Yeah.
Some rice just flew out of my mouth.
It doesn't matter. This is all going to get cut anyway.
Yeah.
This is a dress rehearsal, you know?
It's
a practice run.
It's interesting. They've seen people make this observation. It is like they've built a super team of role players.
Huh?
Lucy has been eating an apple the entire time, so this is not something that would ever air, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I'm not chewing into the microphone.
Sam, that's a lot of picks. That's a lot of picks to give up for a zero-time All-Star.
I mean, the Knicks' last 4 picks have been R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Frank Ntilikina, whatever the hell his name is. I don't care what his name is, and Kevin Knox. Who cares about the picks? I mean, seriously.
All right, Sam, your thoughts as the commissioner of fandom and the senior Knicks correspondent here on WFAT.
I mean, how could you not be excited to get Mikal Bridges? I mean, it's the final Infinity Stone. It's a big deal. I heard what you said about him never being an All-Star. You know who else never was an All-Star until this season? Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
These guys bring out the best in each other. You can't measure good vibes. We felt it last year. It's only going to get better. Got to bring back OG. Really hope we find a way to still bring back Hardenstein, too. I think he's essential. But if we do, damn, we're deep. We're scary. To get Bridges out of Brooklyn is so nice. He looked more depressed every time we played each other than a guy in like an ISIS hostage tape. You know, the difference is I think people actually watch ISIS hostage tapes. No one watches the Brooklyn Nets. So glad he's here in New York City. Glad he's on the right side in the right borough. Let's go Knicks.
Okay, you say keep all those people, but this is a quote from Woj. The Knicks are still determined to keep OG in free agency, sources tell ESPN, but the ability to re-sign center Isaiah Hartenstein becomes more difficult now. The Knicks are loading up on wings to match up with the NBA champion Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hear that. And, but, you know, Woj also said that Dan Hurley was going to be the next coach of the LA Lakers. So Woj doesn't know everything. Let's slow down, Woj. Hardenstein, there's good vibes going there. I think, like, if it's the difference between $2 million a year, I think he could stay here. You know, we're really good with Hardenstein. I hope it works out.
Stephen A. just reported just moments ago here that KD and the Suns are looking to
He says that the
trade
Suns are
KD.
looking. Usually it would go the other way around, and maybe because Stephen A's got really good relationships in the Kevin Durant camp. But he went to First Take and he said the Suns want to trade Kevin Durant right now, and we're on the precipice of some big moves.
There's
right
a
now.
lot of stuff going on,
A lot of moves
Dan.
before the moves. Jeremy has been hard at work. We got something for you later, Dan.
Mike, you want him?
Stephen A. Smith also said that no Villanova players in that draft would have a good NBA career. And now the Knicks have 4 solid NBA players from Villanova. I don't care what Stephen A. says. And maybe he does have good relationships throughout the league, but New York is not a fan of Stephen A.
You just sabotaged our gas bag of the week sound here that we had all queued up to play you. So let's go ahead and do that now for Sam.
Gas bag of the week.
And now let's play that Stephen A. video that Sam is referencing, please, about him saying that none of the Villanova guys are going to be pros, and now all of them are on the Knicks.
Villanova doesn't have a real NBA prospect on their squad.
Skip Bayless in there.
Who was agreeing with that?
But pay him $90 million. He's worth it. I mean, it's amazing you can get this kind of money and be wrong all the time. He's really the Sean Hannity of sports.
Wait a minute. They had agreement on the show about something, and the agreement was about that?
They didn't agree on anything for like a decade. The one thing they agree on, no NBA players on this Villanova team.
Sam, I know you're excited. I know why you're excited. The Knicks are in the game. I think Stephen Hay just proclaimed you the best team in the NBA based on this trade for a zero-time All-Star. Yeah. I know that people are getting carried away with the Knicks stuff. I know that injuries derailed a season that when OG was there, Stugotz, they were playing during the regular season like a team. This is empirical. It's not up for debate. That had one of the best records in the league when he was there. So the Bridges acquisition, he's a very good player, even though he's a zero-time All-Star. He is a very good player. That does what for your enthusiasm? You're putting them with the team that you just saw overwhelm everybody in the sport last year.
I don't know. I don't enjoy your tone right now. You keep saying zero-time All-Star. There's lots of players who were All-Stars who won. Sam Cassell, I believe, won 2 championships before he was an All-Star. You know, if this Villanova team finds a way, this Knicks Villanova squad, if they find a way to win a ring somehow in the next few years, damn, it's going to be a beautiful 30 for 30. The power of friendship. He takes us to a special place because of his defense, and he's a great knockdown shooter. And I think we match up well with Boston if we can bring back OG. I do think we need size. So, you know, I do worry about Mitchell Robinson's health, but we get Hardenstein back, or I hope. We got size. We're tough. That's what I hope happens, but we'll see. It will be hard. As Woj said, who knows all, apparently, Dan. I'm sorry.
Bridges is 27 years old, Dan. 2 years ago, it was 26 a game. He stays healthy for the most part. Last year, it was 20 points a game. He's a great defender, one of the best one-on-one defenders in the NBA, so it does bring the Knicks closer. If they re-sign OG, they have 2 guys who could potentially guard Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
It's an all-in move, but again, what equates to essentially 6 first-round draft picks and making an all-in aggressive move for a dude that isn't a world-renowned superstar, all-star type of guy. I don't know. It's ballsy.
You can praise the move as aggressive. You can't dispute that this management team has fixed what ailed the Knicks, but OKC managed to get Caruso without giving up a pick, and they've got a ton of picks too. The Knicks have still 5 first-round picks. They still have 5 of them. They had a ton. What are you smiling about, Sam?
Yeah, OKC has a ton of picks. You know what they remind me of is that guy who saves his money their entire life and then just dies with like $40 million. And you're like, okay, I hope that was fun, never spending it. Like, what are you going to do with 27 first-round picks? OKC's got a hell of a team, but at some point you got to go all in. I give them credit. It's an impressive trade for Caruso. I would have loved Caruso in New York. He's another tough player, but at some point you got to go all in, and I don't know if they ever do. I think they're like pick hoarders.
I will give Sam credit, and I hate to do that here about the Knicks, but it is a really smart move. If you feel like this is the one chance that you have to build on something special and move forward and take a core and maximize what you can get out of them, you add a guy who you not only know is a really good player, maybe overpaying for him, but also a guy who you know gets along with this locker room. These guys all wanted to play together. And look, is it maybe a super team of role players? Potentially. But if all these guys can play their role the right way, we've seen the way that the Knicks can maximize that.
Jeremy gives you credit. How do you feel, Sam?
I feel good.
Good. He only called me asshole one time.
It was one time. I feel bad about that. I think I was in the right to call you. So I think
you were. Yeah, you were.
But sure. I appreciate what you say, Jeremy. And I think a super team of role players isn't fair. I think Brunson has played himself into a top 10 player. You know, Randall is still an all-star. Like, people like to on him. And, you know, as you just said, Bridges 26 a game. I mean,
they're going to move him, Sam. They're going to move him.
You got to get rid of Randall.
They're going to move him.
He was only that good because he wasn't there.
But I'm judging as it stands right now.
Correct.
And Mikal Bridges, he's a heck of a player. One of his best qualities is that he's always available. So you also look at his contract, which is they're going to have to pay him at some point. But right now, Brunson and Bridges together are making less than like Kawhi. less than Jimmy Butler, less than a lot of, Bradley Beal, obviously, but we all know that's a poison pill. But, this is a really good contract. Brunson's a really good contract. We're going to have to probably really pay OG, but that's okay. Randall right now is a good contract. We're a team full of good contracts, and that means something too.
Bridges hasn't missed a game since high school. OG is going to cost about $250 million, which hurts. That hurts. He's going to cost between $200 and $250 million. And, Sam, what I would tell you is the Knicks are all in, but the Knicks are making the first move, and this time is fascinating, Stugotz. This week with the NBA draft and with every other team in the league in an ecosystem that's super competitive, doing what the Knicks are doing, which is how do we beat the Celtics? Because now the Warriors are said to have Andrew Wiggins and Chris Paul on the market. Clay might be available. The Warriors might get involved with Paul George. All of the teams that think that they're a piece away are looking at themselves the way the Knicks are looking at themselves.
I mean, Chris Paul's a great player, but you talk about having a harmonious locker room. He doesn't seem like the dude. I don't know. Like, if we're bringing in an old ass point guard with a fat ass, I'm thinking Kyle Lowry and not Chris Paul. Villanova, bring it together. Charge machine. He's a flopper, but I still like him. And then also, who's the other one? Wiggins. Why Wiggins for us? I don't think that makes sense. I mean, I think his stock is incredibly low. He looked incredible.
No, my point is just that
he didn't say you were getting all of them, Sam.
My point is just that the Warriors are doing what the Knicks are doing. There are 10 teams in the league that think that they're a bridges away, that they have to counter what the Celtics just did.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Celtics, this is what happens when you're the champions. They have a hell of a team. And when you have, that's what happens. I mean, I feel like last year people were building towards taking down the Nuggets, right? Now it's people building towards taking down the Celtics. The Celtics are a really tough team. Like, I mean, they didn't really even have Porzingis healthy, and they still look great with old man Horford, who's a beast.
Hey.
I got to give him credit. And I see why that line was so long to meet him at Raising Cane's. He's a Boston OG. He's a badass. I got to give Al Horford credit. I can't hate Drew Holiday. He's too likable. Like, they're a tough. I like the culture of what they did, but I love what the Knicks are doing. And I'm hearing a lot of NBA pundits saying right now, as stands, the Knicks are the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East. And I think that's a fair assessment. The Bucks are getting older. The Sixers are never healthy. The Heat are still tough. I'll give you that. But I think we are, as stands, if we bring back OG, we're very dangerous.
You mentioned NBA pundits. Let's go ahead and play Stephen A. I don't know what Sam's going to do with this because he loves the Knicks, but he does not like Stephen A. And look at what Stephen A. now says because he's very enthusiastic about this move.
I don't give a damn what it is. Right now, I'm looking at the New York Knicks, and the only team I definitively see above them is the reigning, defending NBA champion Boston Celtics. Anybody else? You got some work to do because the New York Knicks, baby, the culture, the fire, you understand the tenacity, the defense, all of that stuff is here. It's here. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about right now. Great, great, great move by the New York Knicks. I absolutely love it. I don't like the first-round picks, but you do have 11 first-round picks over 7 years going into this move. So you still got an abundance of first-round picks at your disposal. I love what I'm seeing. I'm incredibly happy. There's more work to do, but we took a step up last night.
He speaks for you, Sam. He speaks for you.
It's very hard for me to see him happy, but if it's because of the Knicks, I guess I'm going to have to live with it, Dan.
Raising Cane's.
I'll give him one of these for this because I agree in this point. I think, the Knicks have gotten better. I mean, you have to look at that. We did have an abundance of picks, and it's for a move like this. And I think he just is going to fit so beautifully. I think that one of the things about Bridges is that he's a malleable player. You can kind of play him on the wing. He can knock down those threes. He can get his own shot, and he's a hell of a defender. So I think this just makes everybody a little better, and it hopefully gives Josh Hart some rest for once. It lets these guys get a few less minutes a game.
You mentioned earlier Raising Cane. We're all in agreement that that's a wonderful restaurant when you're drunk, correct? There is no dispute from anybody
Always,
in the
it's wonderful.
audience.
It's always good.
But especially
Well, I
when
don't know
you're
who our
drunk.
chicken sponsor is, so may or may not be.
When you're
wonderful.
drunk is not much of an endorsement. I mean, I'll eat street meat when I'm drunk. Come on, I'll eat it.
I know, but I will eat chicken fingers and French fries more than anything in terms of absorbing alcohol than Raising Cane. Like, what? Come on, there's nothing.
Not lately. You look good, man. You look belt.
Okay, no one says.
See
that
how
around
happy I
here,
am
so
over the
look-
Bridges thing? I'm complimenting you.
He's even
It's
saying you look
crazy.
good.
It's
I mean,
unbelievable. I'm sorry. Thank you, Sam. Good talking to you. I appreciate it.
Orange and blue skies. The future is bright.
His new special is called You've Changed. It debuts July 9th on Prime Video. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, we're getting Kevin Durant.
We're going to go get Kevin
Yeah, we're
Durant
getting
this
Kevin
segment
Durant.
if you'd like.
okay.
Top cop on it.
Go get him. He's all yours.
All right. I'll go by the board.
We've already started. We started the
Go by
last
the board.
segment with
Get
everyone eating apples and eating into the microphone.
This
An
is all I
apple a
needed
day,
because
Dano.
Paul George, I got to tell you, wasn't doing anything for me. I've been making fun of that guy his entire career, and I really hate this recent trend of the Heat acquiring players I do not like and having to talk myself into them. It started with Jimmy Butler. That one worked out. I apologize. But then Kyle Lowry and then Terry Rozier. Paul George is in that class, and I really don't want to have to work my way up for it. But Kevin Durant, Dan, this has always been the way. Phoenix stole him. He thought he was coming here, and he went over there, and it was an absolute mess, top to bottom. And now it looks like they might blow it up. And with Stephen A. saying that the Suns want to get rid of him and not the other way around, I'm thinking the Heat might be in on this if that's true.
Yeah, but he went to Brooklyn, and that, turned out to be a disaster. He went to Phoenix. They should have been good. They weren't good. You're going to trust Kevin Durant to run your team?
I see what's happening here.
What?
You're going to have to reconcile with a player that you haven't liked his entire career, and he shows up here, and if he does any winning, it's going to be confusing
No,
for
but you also did this the moment that he got some Knicks excitement about his player being acquired. The Knicks are in the game now. The Knicks
Right.
are being discussed in a way that made everyone real uncomfortable, the way that ESPN celebrated that team for merely making the second round of the playoffs. The idea that that team, Stugotz, is a player away, to me, suggests that the player needs to be better than Brunson. The Miami Heat have been a player away. They need that player to be better than Jimmy Butler. I think Kevin Durant has done some damage to how it is that he is regarded in the last couple of years because he has not been able to lift the team and stay healthy post-Warriors to a championship. He's been very close. I would still want him on my team, but he's got body parts breaking down. And last year, the league got taken away from him and people his age. It got taken away by wings that do to him what Tatum did to him last year when they lined up against each other, and you saw the age difference on when Tatum, Stugotz, when Pritchard comes out. I don't know if you saw this, but when Pritchard comes out and hits the buzzer beater at the end of quarters that he's brought out to get, Jason Tatum went to jump up and do that chest bump celebration with a fellow athlete, and he just hit Pritchard in the face with his because he jumped so high and Pritchard can't get up as high. And so he just didn't do a chest bump of any sort. But now, because the NBA is in full swing here, we're going to get all sorts of transaction talk over the next couple of days because the draft itself stinks, Stugotz. The players that you can get in this draft are not as valuable as all the conversation that's going to start happening around the possible transactions. Jeremy's out by a board there in the other room with a series of permutations here that get kicked off by the Knicks now saying, we're in the game, we're a player away. Jeremy, what do you have over there?
Dan, there has been a ton of player movement already, and it's going to be a huge night. NBA draft, like you said, not a ton of top-tier talent available, but there's a ton of top-tier talent available to the NBA, and we saw one player in Mikal Bridges moved yesterday. The Knicks acquired the power of friendship with all four of their Villanova players. In return, Bojan Bogdanović goes to the Nets, but it's the 4 unprotected first-round picks, the 1 protected first-round pick via Milwaukee, and the second-round pick that go to the Brooklyn Nets. That, in turn, makes them sellers. So what happens with guys like Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Schroeder, Ben Simmons being brought up on draft night?
Thank you.
They also have a couple of their own picks that have now gone back. But the reason they ended up with a couple of those picks, another trade on top of the Knicks trade. It was with the Houston Rockets. And it's being reported that the Rockets have interest in players on the Phoenix Suns. They acquired the 2027 first-round pick of Phoenix. They acquired the ability to swap for the Suns' 2025 first-round pick and to swap for their 2029 first-round pick. Now, what does that mean? Could they trade for, say, a Kevin Durant? Well, according to Woj, Kevin Durant may be staying put. Maybe Houston's not that interested, but they'd be interested in Devin Booker. Now, that's a guy who could be traded to the Rockets if the Suns were willing to blow it up. And there are several other players potentially on the move. How about Paul George here? No more with the 76ers. Apparently, interest has waned. So what's going to happen with him and his player option? Are the Warriors going to be aggressive and move for Paul George? You also have players like DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, potentially Brandon Ingram, all available tonight. How about De'Aaron Fox, who has 2 years left and has yet to sign an extension with Sacramento? A fellow friend of Bam Adebayo. Speaking of those friends, Donovan Mitchell. Now, they have a new coach in Kenny Atkinson, who is now gone to Cleveland, but no extension signed just yet. So, Donovan Mitchell and the Heat, is that a potential for tonight or beyond? Or, as Stephen A. Smith mentions Kevin Durant this morning, the night of the NBA draft, and Phoenix wanting to move him, all of a sudden New York's out of the sweepstakes. The Nets are out of the sweepstakes as they tank. And who could want to acquire a potentially older scorer to go along with their older alpha and get a sort of quiet killer in Kevin Durant? Well, maybe, just maybe. Dan? It's the Miami Heat.
You're breathy.
Billy, out of breath?
Billy, can you go out there and translate for me, please? I need a Heat translator on that inefficient mess.
Josh Giddey and Alex
He did a
Caruso?
bang-up job. That was.
I got to be honest, he's pretty good
inefficient.
at that. I mean,
Yeah, he's really good at that.
It is a mess that he's made on the board. I was hoping all of those points.
doesn't
and
make sense to you?
arrows, I was hoping that would be a drawing of something.
The
Billy.
Rockets are a really interesting team to monitor here, Jeremy. Thank
yes,
you for opening my
the
eyes
Rockets
to that.
were Rockets were a lot better than anyone expected them to be last year. I don't think we had Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks creating that much of a difference with that team. Billy, what are the translations here? You are over at the Heat board and you are writing on the board. What is that word you just wrote? I can't read it from
that
here.
board on word on the board here next Heat says nothing. So the way that this is going to work for the Heat is Kevin Durant is going to be headed to the Heat for nothing. Devin Booker is going to be headed to the Heat for nothing. And then we have Donovan Mitchell, I agree, headed to the Heat for nothing. Who else is on this board? Hartenstein. You want him? He's going to be headed over to the Heat. And they're going to trade nothing for him. And then that's going to be how tonight plays out for the Miami Heat. They're going to get all these players in exchange for
Excellent
nothing.
night. Excellent night for Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. They keep all their players. They get all the players that everyone else wants. And
and we give up 4 picks for Bridges.
That's right. And you give up all your first-round picks for a no-time All-Star, and the Miami Heat get everyone else. But, Lucy, how annoying did you find Mike Ryan as soon as the news filtered through the room that Kevin Durant might be available? It's the most Heat interest I've seen from him in about a couple of years.
Y'all literally think every single player under the sun wants to move to Miami. They don't, all right? It's not as fun here as it looks.
It is under the sun, however.
And he did want to be here. We know it to be true.
We know he doesn't like those suns anymore. Maybe he likes this one.
Go to the Connecticut Sun.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
On a Wednesday, huh? A Wednesday weekend observations.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, last year, they came up short in the postseason. But I've always said, you can't keep a great coach down. And behind some of the best players the sport has to offer, they got back to work. overcoming obstacle after obstacle with the hopes of getting back there to right the ship. And Monday night, they got their moment. Against all odds, they persevered, giving their passionate fan base a night they will never forget. Because for the first time in their history, they were crowned champions. And Dan, make no mistake about it, just like that, Tennessee baseball is back. The Vols.
That was an upset. Yes. Did you watch any of that Tennessee-Florida State game? The end of that game? Florida State must be so mad at the umpire.
I didn't watch.
It was an amazing ending.
Hold on a second. You were watching that game?
Yes.
During the Panthers game?
No, I wasn't
No,
watching.
it's a
That wasn't
round.
the championship game. It was over the weekend. These
Game
are weekend observations on a Wednesday.
Yep, midweek. Game 3. Best 2 words in sports. I like the College World Series.
So do I.
Why I do. Leon Draisaitl, 40-plus goals in the regular season, 0 in the Stanley Cup Final. You know what the D in Draisaitl stands for, Dan?
Disappeared.
Donut.
Oh, okay.
Draisaitl gonna save you.
No, he's not.
Hey. Dan, you know what the M in Connor McDavid stands for?
I do not.
Not Mr. Game 7. Maybe Mr. Game 4, perhaps Mr. Game 5, but not and never Mr. Game 7. How about that?
So what does the M stand for if not Mr. Game 7?
I don't know.
Okay. Wow, you don't know either. Okay.
Yeah.
Just not
Mr. Game 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Game 4.
Yeah. Huh. God rested on the 7th day. Maybe McJesus thought he should rest on the 7th game. I liked it. Dan, let me ask you a question. You think Mark Messier would break Canada's heart the way McDavid did? Do you?
I do not.
You know what the M in Mark Messier stands for?
Messiah.
Mr. Game 7.
Oh, does it? Okay.
You know what the other M in Mark Messier stands for?
I do not.
More Mr. Game 7.
More
Yes.
Mr. Game 7, of course.
Messiah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was merely Messiah.
Mr. Game 7. Just me? Or does anyone else feel like the Sky play the Fever every other night?
There are only 12 teams in the league, so they play each other a lot.
Tom Haberstroh is doing deep dives into Jordan's defensive stats from 1988. Hey, Tom, get a hobby. The H in Haberstroh stands for hobby. Get one.
Hobbyless.
Love you, by the way. But hobby. I mean, who does that? Why are we deep diving into Jordan's defensive stats from 1988? What are we doing?
He likes to uncover things.
Uncover a hobby. I mean,
Okay.
seriously.
All right. I feel like his hobby
I love
is
you, Tommy.
uncovering. It doesn't sound like you love it.
I do love him, but it is a waste of his time.
It's his career.
I don't care what he unearths, Dan. Nothing is going to change my opinion that Michael Jordan's the greatest player and athlete of all time. I don't care.
You didn't find the reporting interesting
No.
on faked defensive stats?
I had to read it.
Okay.
But, Tommy, since you're diving, see if you can find his 2 MVP awards that somehow went to Barkley and Malone while you're down there. Thank you.
Just because the voters were bored.
I hate that.
That is what happened. They
Stupid,
just
though.
didn't want to keep giving it to the same guy.
Yeah.
Jokic is going to suffer from some of this.
You think?
Yeah, they're not going to just keep giving it to him. They're going to find reasons to give it to somebody
You
else.
have to give it to him, though. He's the most valuable player in the league. And so was Jordan. And Malone and Barkley stole him. So if we're going to deep dive, go find those things.
I gotcha.
All right.
All right.
Get a hobby.
Yell
I
at
feel like
Tommy.
giving him the award, though, like if they get mad at him, they'd give it to him because of how much he would hate it.
They can do that too.
Christian Pulisic. No? Pulisic? Captain America.
That's easier. Yeah, that's better. Captain America.
That goal. Take a bow. The C in Christian stands for Captain America. The P in whatever his last name is still stands for penis.
Because the goal went off his penis.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
It's Pulisic. And the keeper should have done better.
Alexi Lawless criticizes the American team like he did something when he played. Hey, Alexi, you didn't.
He did.
He didn't.
But he
Big
did.
upset over Colombia.
What'd he do?
I mean,
On the heels of that, they had
Did he
some
win
success.
anything?
but he did beat Colombia, no?
How many World Cups does he have, though?
Thank you.
I'm asking. I
No,
actually
zero.
don't know.
Zero? It's zero.
Yeah, the U.S. men's national team has
I
won
knew
0
that.
World Cups.
They win a Copa something, or
You were just asking. Did they win a Copa something?
Shohei Ohtani batted 41 last week with 6 home runs, $700 million, bargain.
It is crazy how good that human being is at baseball. It doesn't make any sense.
Next year he pitches again.
He hit a ball the other day 476 feet.
Mike, I'm sorry about Lawless. You're right.
I'm not a fan. Go for it.
All right. You seemed upset about it. That's all.
I mean, he has one of the more iconic moments in
Okay.
U.S. men's national history.
Stugotz, just so you know, just so that so that you understand what it is to hit a baseball 476 feet. It's a football field and a half. He hit a baseball a football field and a half.
Thank you for explaining that. You know how far I drive a golf ball?
Not as far as you say you do, because everyone around here says you're
Two
not.
football fields.
Everyone here says you're not any good at golf.
200 yards, guys. Come on.
And all you've been
In
telling
the air
us.
or
No. I love a little squibber.
just let it roll?
I love a golf course where they don't have a lot of rough between the tee box and the fairways. And then it just rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls. 275 yards later, boom. Sorry, Mike.
U.S. Soccer did make a ballsy move today. Emma Hayes, with her first real big-time decision, decided no Alex Morgan on the Olympic roster.
Wow, it's a travesty.
It's the right call, but it's a gutsy call. Real gutsy.
Terrible call.
That is so good. That is so on brand for Stugotz to elevate immediately to the delivery of news that he knows nothing about to calling it immediately a travesty so that no one can have a stronger take on that front with less information than him. Just goes straight to travesty.
Word choice is everything.
The
Dan.
travesty meter just gets straight. I'm surprised he didn't go to tragedy.
To the gentleman at Hartsfield International Airport who entered the bathroom stall and yelled out, "Heels up," as a warning before he started taking care of business. Thank you. I got out of there.
Yeah,
He yelled, "Heels up."
it was a warning.
Funny. Nobody gets hurt jogging around the bases more than Giancarlo Stanton.
Amen.
He is
Just jog around, walk.
He really is made of balsa wood or what rattan, like I don't know, wicker.
Yeah, Wicker. Sergei Bobrovsky. Get yourself a travel agent and book a one-way ticket to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Sergey.
I don't care.
Sergey.
Sergalicious.
Get a travel agent, book a one-way ticket to the
You gotta
Hockey
get
Hall
on
of
that.
Fame. Hobby.
Sergey the Duchess.
Phillies.
He came closer to his name than Ryan Clark did. We called him Dave. Dave Bobrovsky.
Phillies with the old 1-3-5 triple play. Baseball. When cops swarmed the green on 18, do you think any part of Scotty Scheffler thought, "Oh no, not again"? You see that?
I wish Scheffler had handled all of that less golfing. just make it slightly more interesting than you did.
Tip of the cap to Willie Mays, the say hey kid. We didn't do enough with that. I'm not certain what we're supposed to do, but we didn't do enough with it.
Greg Cody was really good on it.
Okay, we did.
Greg Cody wept talking about
Cried?
it.
You were
Really?
spearing.
I was.
He cried on air. It was an emotional day, though.
Yep. Jaylen Brown lost a ring at the Celtics championship parade. I don't know who found it, but I can promise you one person who didn't. Chris Paul. The C in Chris Paul stands for couldn't find a ring if it fell in his lap.
What are you going to do if he ends up with the Knicks?
He won't.
You never know.
He won't. You have him ending up with the Knicks?
You never know.
The Knicks aren't that dumb.
A trade, a buyout.
They used to be dumb. No longer dumb. They make smart moves now.
So Kyle Lowry.
Smart move. Has a title. Is Chris Paul? No. Dan, don't look now. But the Mets are 10-2 since Grimace threw out the first pitch. Mr. Met, hot seat.
What do you mean hot seat?
I mean, Grimace.
You're going to replace Mr. Met as the mascot because you
Mr.
won
Met's not working.
8 out of 10?
10 out of 12. What do you mean?
10 out of 12?
10
and
2.
you're going to replace Mr. Met?
Yeah. If we keep winning. Hot seat. Keep an eye on it. Oilers fans at the arena celebrating with their phones for a Conn Smythe trophy. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's embarrassing. You lost the Stanley Cup. You're celebrating a guy who didn't deserve to win the Conn Smythe trophy. That's what you're celebrating with your phones out? You stuck around for that? What a joke. You seem to agree. You're shaking your head yes.
I do not agree that he shouldn't have won the trophy. I do not agree with that.
The only way that game was going to end was with the puck pinned up against the boards. The barn was rocking Monday. Top 5 athletes. That connotes something you would find in a barn. OLI. Joe McGrain. Goose Gossage. Number 5, Duck Hodges. Number 4, Chick Hearn. Number 3, Chad Henne.
Just a hen?
Yeah. Number 2, Michael Cooper. Coop. Number 1, Michael Jordan.
Thought you were going to go say hey kid because we didn't do enough with him.
GOAT. Here come the cards. Steve Kwan is batting .385. Have no idea who he is, but he's good. You know who he is? Kwani. My Twitter account got hacked. Apparently, Deadhead420 was an easy-to-guess password. Andrew Brandt. He sent me a link. I got all excited. I thought he was sending me some football information. I didn't look.
It was Andrew Brandt?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I thought I was privy to some really great information. I couldn't open that attachment quick enough.
What did it say before the link?
That's the way to get him.
Please.
The way to get him is
Copyright infringement.
Andrew Brandt.
That's the way to get him. Just send him a link that might get him some football information. It's the only way to
Got
get
me.
him.
It's amazing.
I was wondering what it was.
I responded, what is this? He didn't respond back. I sent it to Adnan, who's very good friends with him, Team Federer, and he said, I get him all the time, just delete it. I said, football information, I am not deleting that. I opened it. Sorry to everyone, including Reese Davis, who sent me a text. Oh, man. I was cleaning up that mess the entire weekend.
I don't know. That whoever was fishing did their research.
Andrew Brandt. Damn it. Rory McIlroy.
Oh, no.
McIlroy
Yes.
skipped the Travelers Championship after choking away the U.S. Open. Imagine a quarterback throwing a bad interception late and then saying, I think I'll take off next week. Grow up. Who does that? He missed those putts. Not the Travelers Championship. Not the great people of Northern Connecticut. He missed the putt.
That's right.
He has an obligation to show up to that tournament and play for the people who purchased tickets to that tournament. That is a terrible job by Rory. It is. He missed them. He choked.
That's right. That's correct.
I mean, imagine, seriously, throwing a pick six against the Chiefs and you say, hey, you know what, late in the game. And then you say to your teammates after the game, Dan, hey, you know what, next week, take it off against Carolina. Thank you.
He doesn't play a team sport, though.
I don't care. I mean, Dan, people purchased tickets a long time ago to see the best player in the world, and he's not showing up because he choked. They didn't choke. Anyway, I'm so mad about this.
Is he the best player in the world?
He's one of the best players in the world, yes. Roy should get a ring.
One of isn't the same as the best player in the world.
He is certainly, listen, any tournament he shows up to, he is one of the guys that if you're going to purchase tickets for the tournament, that's one of the guys you're going to see. He's especially with that field. It's a good field, but I think he's the best player in that field. I don't think Scotty's playing.
Maybe he was getting his affairs in order.
Roy should get a ring. Made me happy to see him happy as hell. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
The criticism, Stugotz, is pouring in from all over the internet. Dan saying this championship was earned is so pathetic. He can't even enjoy the celebration without taking a shot at the Celtics. It's sad, really. People thought Vegas fans were annoying last year. Well, you guys top them. My favorite thing is nobody on this show but Roy caring about the Panthers until like 3 years ago, and now they're all acting like they've waited their whole lives for this moment. Peak Miami right there. Why does Mike Ryan keep saying this Panthers team is or should be considered an all-time great team? Does he not remember the Red Wings teams from the late 90s?
Ooh.
Or the Avalanche teams that came after them? Do you not remember them, Mike? Do you not remember them?
I did one segment where I said one of the best teams in the 21st century. Those were great teams.
How about the Lance, though?
The Lance were good.
The Red Wings teams, I would say
the Lance were good.
They were
Joe
probably better.
Sakic,
The Red Wings were also exceptional.
Yeah, they're really good teams. Love sports, man.
Let's do against the spread.
Do you think his tone was what you read it as? Yeah.
I do, yes.
People are funny.
Why does Mike keep saying this Panthers team is or should be considered an all-time great? Does he not remember the Red Wings teams of the late 90s?
Well, funny voice person, those teams should also be considered as all-time teams. Not taking anything away from anybody.
You were taking it away from somebody. Once you give it to somebody else, you're taking it away from somebody.
Just a little piece.
You took a little bit away from Stevie Yzerman. You took a little bit and you gave it over here. You gave it over here to Barkov, and Yzerman wanted that.
I saw a lot of smart people calling this the best NHL season of all time. If one team ends up winning the championship during the best NHL season of all time, maybe they should be considered among the best of all time.
Couldn't agree more.
But Dan is right. Yzerman wants that piece back.
I'm not taking anything away from Yzerman.
You are taking it from him.
Piece.
He wants it.
He should probably find a goalie. That's what he should do in Detroit because they got a good young team. Find a goalie.
Who's starting us off on Against the Spread?
Did someone say spread? Dan, Against the Spread is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. We're going to start out with Mike.
We're going to the Mexican Baseball League.
Oh, really?
I'm gambling again.
Really? The Mexican Baseball League.
Right.
Yeah. We're fading Fernando Flores Jr. and that near 8 ERA. This is a classic story of good pitcher versus bad pitcher, and we're taking Tabasco against the spread.
That's a great name.
It is
for
a
pitcher.
great name. Does he throw heat? Does he throw heat? Tell me he throws
No,
heat.
the team name is Tabasco.
Oh,
Yeah.
Everyone throws heat.
great name for a team.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
So we're going over to Euro 2024, and my great-great-great-grandparents lived in the area that is now Turkey. So we're taking Turkey plus 170 against Czech Republic against the spread.
So the Ottoman Empire is why you're making that.
Yeah, that's
All
This is
right.
an odd Against the Spread
I also
here.
like turkey sandwiches.
Do we not have anything going on in this country worth betting?
I'm
I'm not allowed to gamble
Well,
on any of
since
it.
you
Dan.
said so, I'm going to head over to the WNBA.
Wow.
And I'm going to do something kind of bold. I'm feeling a little crazy. I think I'm going to take the Fever +8 at the Storm. Now, the Storm have been one of the best teams all season. I know the Fever are coming off a loss, but it was a 5-game win streak before. They're starting to figure things out. I don't think the Fever win, but I think they cover. Against the spread. Love you, Caleb. Love
Stugotz?
you.
Dan, a little something I like to call the Subway Series. The Mets, the Yankees, Citi Field. Mets won game 1. Yanks have lost 2 straight. They have lost 3 consecutive series, by the way. They're starting to panic in New York. The Mets are 10-2 since Grimace.
They have lost 2 straight, and they are starting to panic.
There's that. Well, 3 straight series.
Yeah.
And Grimace.
Grimace is the
Mets are 10-2. I am taking the Mets plus 1.5, minus 155. The New York Mets against
the
spread.
Minus 155 to get the run, to get
plus 1.5. Yeah. So the Yankees can win by 1. You still win.
Okay, but
that's how you play.
All right.
Against
Listen,
the spread.
if you don't like it that way, I'll take him plus 105. Okay.
No, but that's money lines. That's different.
And that was against the spread.
Thank you, Draft.
The poll that we had up, did the Monopoly Man ever have a monocle? 77% of the people say he did have a monocle, even though this is an example of the Mandela effect. Jeremy, do you have any other good examples of the Mandela effect for us?
Hello, Clarice. Not a line ever said in The Silence of the Lambs.
Nope.
Good morning. Hello individually. No hello, Clarice. There's also some people believe that they've seen the Mona Lisa frowning. That is not the case. The Mona Lisa does not frown. The biggest one is the Berenstain Bears. Everyone remembers them as the Berenstein Bears, a Jewish bear family. But in fact, they are actually the Berenstain Bears and have always been. People thought that there was a switch at one point in time, but nope, they have always been the Berenstain Bears.
Thank you. Lucy, are you excited at all about the NBA draft? The draft is upon us. The sports calendar does not stop. It moves very quickly, and I suspect the transactions are going to engulf everybody the next couple of days.
No, I'm more worried about the other draft into the military.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Sphere in Vegas. NHL draft at the Sphere.
So there's a bill that has been passed in the House that's probably going to go through the Senate soon. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to Schoolhouse Rock. But so basically, the rule has been that like men are automatically eligible for the draft and like entered at wartime. Well, guess who they're adding to that? Women, and I am not cool with this, so I wanted to come on this show and campaign why I would be a really bad choice for the Army. Because I'm still in the age range. I still have about a year left before they wouldn't draft me. I cannot be in the Army because 1, I'm just not cut out for it. I'm anti-war. 2, can't keep a secret. I'll tell the spies everything. If I get captured, even the threat of anything, I will tell them. I don't even care. They don't even have to ask. I'll just tell them, okay? I get tummy issues when I'm anxious. I know if I'm in the battlefield, I will be so anxious. My hair looks terrible pulled back in a tight bun. It will not work for anyone. This is just not a good fit. If you work for the government, don't put my name on there.
All right.
I am not good. I cannot fight for this country.
Okay. Not because you don't believe in it or pieces of its principles, just because you're not made for war.
Well, I don't like war, but I didn't agree to any of the other stuff you just said there.
Yeah.
All right.
I just really don't want to wear my hair back. And camo does not look good on me either. That's not my color wheel.
All right.
If it were blue, I'd consider it.
All right. So the U.S. government should
Perhaps
not.
the Navy?
Should not.
Never mind. Take it back.
So don't draft Jessica. Do not draft her.